Ad-Darimi say, whenever I leave the house, and on whatever thing my eyes fall on, Sabr. Allah Ta'ala says, Wallahu yuhibbu as-sabirin. Allah Ta'ala is lief with al-Qiyamah.
School governing body of South Coast Madrasa.
And the Prophet was one day with his grandson on his back, and a person came by Hazrat Hussein radiallahu ta'ala and said, "Oh Hussein, how fortunate you are. You have such a beautiful mount. You are mounting the Prophet of the Almighty." And immediately the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, turned down and said, "Look at what a great rider I have upon me." At that age, Hussein was 4 or 5 years of age, but even at that time, the Prophet gave him importance. It is in the respect of the individual that we will find the basis of social cohesion. Obviously, beyond that, we also have the collective dimension. And while we do respect the individual, and each and every individual is important, irrespective of his background, we also have to gel and bring individual people, despite their disparate backgrounds, into one social and collective unit. There can be no peace and prosperity of society without a united and a collective togetherness. The Prophet ﷺ had said, Yadullahi ala al-jama'ah, the hand of the Almighty is upon the united lot. فَإِنَّ الْبَرَكَةَ مَعَ الْجَمَاعَةِ, blessedness of the Almighty is upon the united lot. Without that unity, we would not be able to gain the help of the Almighty, and we will not be able to gain blessings. And of course, the cornerstone of this is to have love, kindness, and mercy upon each and every human being. The Prophet ﷺ had said, with which I would conclude, Irhamu man fil ard, yarhamukum man fis sama. Have mercy upon the people of this earth, so that the Almighty can show mercy upon you. To the degree that you have mercy and kindness towards other people, to that degree you will receive the mercy of the Almighty. Who doesn't need the mercy and who doesn't need the help of the Almighty Allah, which will come upon you proportionate to the kindness, affection, love and kindness that you show towards others. So we start off this important get together on social cohesion by praying to the Almighty. And I would ask you that each and every one, we lift up our hands or we sit in silence and make dua to Almighty Allah. Allahumma rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna min al-khasirin. Oh Allah, we have wronged our souls in many ways. If you do not show have mercy upon us, you do not have raham and kindness upon us, we would be amongst the losers. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batila warzuqna ijtinabah. Oh Allah, show us right deeds as right and give us the ability and opportunity to follow righteousness. Let us see wrong as wrong and give us the ability to stay upon and stay away from it. Allahumma alif bayna qulubina. Oh Allah, grant muhabbat and love between us. Wa aslih dhata baynina, and reconcile us despite our disparate backgrounds and differences. Wa alif wa aslih wahdina subul as-salam, and always guide us upon the right path. Oh Allah, we are in need of you. We are in need of you in every aspect of our life. Do not leave us without guidance. Do not leave us without your protection. Do not leave us without your assistance. For verily, it is upon your assistance that we exist upon this earth. Ameen. Wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
We do have the mayor of Ramallah here, and I think it's significant in terms of where we are and in terms of our issues on human rights and in terms of where the Palestinians stand, and therefore a very natural affinity that I think just about every one of us has with Palestine and Ramallah. So the mayor of Ramallah is Mayor Musa Haddad, His Excellency. However, let me call upon a local person who's made his very own mark in our community and our country, the MEC for Transport, Ismail Bali, to introduce the Mayor of Ramallah.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everybody. For me, it's an absolute pleasure and delight to welcome, first of all, Your Excellency, the Mayor of Ramallah, Musa Hadid. And it's a great honor that you have graced this occasion. I know you've got very, very tight time constraints. The Mayor of Johannesburg is actually waiting for a meeting with the Mayor of Ramallah, so we're not going to take up too much time. His Excellency is an engineer by profession. He's a graduate of Bill Zayed University. He's been elected as the Mayor of Ramallah in 2012, so it's a few years now. And he serves on a number of critical committees in that particular city. He's grown up in the student and youth movements linked to the Palestinian liberation struggle, and today he's earned his place as one of the more prominent leaders of the Palestinian people. It's my great pleasure and honor to invite the Mayor to say a few words to us.
I think you have very good memory because you just read my bio in a few moments and you have it all in your mind. Thank you. أنا راح أتكلم بالإنجليزي. I'm going to talk in English. Even though I didn't prepare for this speech, but at least we have some points that we can share together. Let me first start by thanking the Union of the Arab communities, of course, of South Africa, for organizing such a crucial event and for giving me this opportunity to address such distinguished gathering. And of course, as my friend said, and as I have mentioned also, this was not part of our schedule, but when I learned about it, I insisted that I must be here and have this opportunity to have this, to take a few moments from your conference so that we can as Palestinians share our suffering and our cause with you. And of course, as my friend said, that I have to leave very soon, so I apologize for that. So as I have to be with the Mayor of Johannesburg in few minutes, but it's okay to have a few moments with you also. So let's start by sharing a message from Palestine to your conference. For us, South Africa is the big brother and the historic ally for the Palestinians in our joint struggle, and of course, freedom and justice. It's the inspiration for us for resistance, forgiveness, justice, social cohesion, of course, and building the state. And we have a very good model in South Africa. As I have said just 1 hour ago in an interview, that we were the two nations in the last century and now in this century that's still under occupation, or we have this apartheid system in our life. South Africa now is free, but still Palestine is not free, and we all have to work together in order to get freedom to Palestine. And from this point of view, I think we in Ramallah, as municipality, as also as local community, decided to have this relation with with South Africa, with a city in South Africa, and it's not by chance that we choose Johannesburg to be our sister city with Palestine, with Ramallah. For we know the importance of Johannesburg, and we know the importance of this relationship between Ramallah and Johannesburg, and that's why we initiated the relation, and that was 1 year ago when I met the mayor of Johannesburg in Colombia, and at that time we both agreed that this relation shall see a way to be effect and to have a solid action plan between the two cities in order to establish a model for the relationship between the cities in general. And it wasn't also by chance or a coincidence with our council that by the time when Mr. Nelson Mandela passed away, the council, the city council in Ramallah decided at that moment that we shall acknowledge this person. And in our first meeting as a city council, we decided to name a square, one of our famous squares in Ramallah, after the name of Nelson Mandela. And
صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما. صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما. صلوا عليه.
I must say that this is the only non-Palestinian leader that we have a square after his name. All our squares in Ramallah are after the names of Palestinian leaders, except the Palestinian South African leader, Mr. Nelson Mandela, that we have now a square, and maybe in the coming few weeks we will be unveiling the statue of Mandela in Ramallah after we finish some technical issues with the city of Johannesburg. The South Africa model also applies here in this room, encouraging dialogue and cohesion among communities and minorities. We are proud that Arab and Muslim community are an integral part of the fabric of South Africa and a force of good and prosperity. We salute all those who bring people together like this union. From our side, we also came from a society that is tolerant and inclusive, historic and deeply rooted in Palestine. There you never know and you can never differentiate between Muslims and Christians. However, on the other side we face an ideology in Israel that is really exclusive and purist and denies and negates the others. Now we have the full-fledged apartheid in Palestine. Our response to that is the South Africa model, the non-violence, the international solidarity, and building our state and country. Finally, I would like to thank you again for this unique opportunity, and I wish you every success in this conference. And let me finish by saying that we as Palestinians really need all the support from our friends, but we need also the support from our brothers, the Arab nation. This is very important for Palestine, and I think in this conference and in this room, I can see the Arab world gathering together on tables, and this is a good model for the Arab countries to unite again and to have influence on international level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Honorable Deputy Minister, respected ulama and friends, distinguished delegates and guests, respected brothers and sisters, all protocol observed. I did jump MEC, is not here. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. The Union of Arab Community of South Africa is a democratic consortium of association and representative of Arab community operating in South Africa. We was established in 2010 as a mouthpiece of South African Arab community to preserve their identities and to ensure the promotion of Arab culture that have contributed over centuries to the Arab African heritage with aim to assist in empowering and building a well-integrated and productive community. On 18 January last year, the Union organized the first conference of social cohesion dialogue. It was initiated with intention to be organized every year in partnership with the City of Johannesburg as contribution from migrant community operating in South Africa in general and from the Union of Arab Country Community of South Africa in particular. It is out of moral obligation to consolidate the mechanism and principle of social cohesion with aim to convey constant message of tolerance and peace to various communities in South Africa and to Africa, that South Africa, a rainbow nation by its diversity and inclusivity, belongs to all who live in it. Working together for a common future is a must. The overall impact of last conference was beyond our expectation, with views and witnesses of the participants. It results in sending message to whom it may concern that South Africa belongs, like I said, to all who live in it. Order, social justice must prevail, bringing many different South African communities, including migrant communities, together in one platform to be more involved, interested, and committed to be part of designing a common program for a collective future. These efforts are toward ensuring sustained interaction by motivating each other to take individually and seriously the duty how can we contribute in building a cohesive society. Today we gather here for the second edition of social cohesion for same purpose with different theme, and in this time we are blessed by the presence of many their excellencies to support this initiative and help in creating a mechanism how can migrants in South Africa be more involved in building, like I said, a cohesive society. Fair, creative and innovative mechanism for managing this phenomenon are now urgently needed. History shows that countries that have progressive migration policy often bring in significant economic benefits. The President of South Africa and his deputy highlighted the importance of promoting social cohesion in several times, and the executive head of Gauteng, Province the Premier, regards it as one of its 5 pillars to bring about economic and social transformation. Therefore, how South Africa migrant community can be accommodated and be part of the process of this transformation. service delivery, failure in local community leads and generates social instability, disintegration, and conflict. And even access to quality education and training deprives the young people of the knowledge and skills needed for social and economic development. Racism and xenophobia perpetuate divisions and conflict in communities. South Africa has and can show the real leadership on the continent by creating space to debate immigration's issues and engage with foreign nationals about their lives, hopes, and aspirations. In this way, a platform could be created for all parties to promote social cohesion and encourage a cross-pollination of ideas and skills to the benefit of all. Indeed, migration is a fundamental characteristic of all humanity. Long live South Africa, and God lead South Africa and their leadership. Amandla.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Really, it's indeed a great pleasure for us to be here this evening to address you as well. And thank you to the Arab Community Organization for giving us this opportunity of co-sponsoring this event and also of being part of this community and assisting wherever we can. Now, I just want to very briefly talk about OCAF South Africa, because that's what we are really all about. First of all, to those that don't really understand, the word OCAF is the plural of waqf. And waqf is an Arabic word which literally means to stop. But in Sharia, waqf means that we cease owning some of our wealth or property or whatever we own, and we transfer this to Almighty God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by doing this, we are transferring some of our wealth from the private sector to the public sector, from the private space to the public space. And this is really the essence of making a waqf, that we remove some of our wealth from our private capacity to enable the public to benefit from this endowment that we actually make. The significant thing is that the fruits of this endowment should be used for the public benefit. The fruits of this endowment should be used for any Sharia compliant purpose. The fruits of this endowment should be used for poverty alleviation, for humanitarian work, for building hospitals, for schools, for any need that's there within the community. We believe that South Africa needs to embrace the waqf system to create civic economies. In view of the many challenges that are faced by South African and migrant communities, the Muslim community of South Africa, having also emerged from a very restrictive apartheid past, have embarked on several initiatives, and we can proudly claim that we are a contributing community.
وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه.
Now, I don't want to really extol the praises of our own organization, but I think that generally the community in South Africa has made major contributions and continues to do so. And we've seen in the video, we've seen the gift of the Givers Foundation. We see the South African National Zakah Fund. We've got probably about 1,500 NGOs in South Africa, Muslim NGOs, that are doing their little bit in different ways in communities. Many of these are not really seen by the public, unfortunately, because of a culture of not showing. But I think that that trend is changing, and people are beginning to show the type of contributions that they are making. Now, I'm just going to give you one example. Between OCAF South Africa and the Islamic Medical Association, 3,500 cataract operations have been done in poor communities. People that have now been given a new vision. We also see that through our student organizations, their outreach programs reach out to many young students from diverse communities as well. Some of our projects involve tuition programs, upgrading tuition in communities that are not Muslim. And one of the objectives of OCAF South Africa is to reach out, and many of our organizations do this, where they actually reach out, not necessarily serving only the Muslim community, but also well beyond the Muslim community. I think we see ourselves as South Africans and as part of the broader landscape of South Africa. Initiatives such as OCAF South Africa are here to benefit all South Africans in perpetuity, and that is one of the key features of a waqf, that the benefits of a waqf are always in perpetuity. So we are very happy actually that if we can actually introduce and establish and grow this system here, we would be able to fund a lot more projects downstream. Why should civil society do all of this when government should be doing it? And that's a question many people ask. We say this is a teaching of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and an injunction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have an obligation to serve the community. So irrespective of what government does, and this has been proven over and over through the centuries, that the communities at ground level have always made such contributions. We've seen a famous university in Morocco, in Fez, created by a waqf by a lady named Fatima Fihri. We've seen hospitals being created by people. We've seen the first mosque in South Africa being donated by a descendant of a slave woman, Sarah van den Kaap. So, one of the verses of the Holy Quran has really been a prime driver, I would say, for the establishment of waqf. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Lan tanalul birra hatta tunfiku mimma tuhibbun. None of you will attain righteousness unless you give from what you love. In conclusion, we trust that the outcome and declaration of this conference will produce meaningful action plans which we all should support and bring to fruition so that we can live the Mandela dream of unity in diversity. Inshallah. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Program Director. Let me first begin by acknowledging the dignitaries present here today. The Deputy Minister of Public Enterprise, the Honorable Bulelani Gratitude Makwanishe, the Honorable MEC Ismail Wadi, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors and members of Diplomatic Corps, the President of South African Spaza and Township Association, Mama Rose Nkosi, the President of Satseva, Advocate General Tekiso, Western Farmers Forum, Brother Ahmed Habibullah, the Chairperson of United Arab Communities of South Africa, citizens, activists, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for your presence here this evening. The organizers of this conference, and indeed the Gauteng provincial government, have very accurately captured the prerequisite of social cohesion in our country. And that is the radical economic transformation of our township communities. It is clear from the recent xenophobic violence in Soweto that long-term social cohesion in our township communities is dependent on addressing the underlying socio-economic issues of unemployment and underdevelopment, to promote our people from the trap of poverty and hopelessness that they find themselves in. The Township Business Development South Africa, TBDSA, is an immediate grassroots response to the increasing levels of xenophobic violence in our township communities. Immediately after the tragic killings of Simpiwe Mahure in Snake Park, we realized that the long-term sustainability of social cohesion in Soweto will depend on migrant traders and local communities working together with government to address root causes of the violence. We couldn't bear the thought of our people killing other people over bread and groceries. So we began by organizing and meeting with migrant traders from Soweto in a series of general meetings to get the inputs and ideas on resolving this problem in the long term, culminating with the establishment of TBDSA by 800 migrant traders from Soweto as a representative forum of Ethiopian, Somali, and Bengali traders, with a program of action to make a positive contribution to Soweto community and work closely with local partners such as SASTA and other local business associations and local and provincial government to deal with the root causes of the violence. I must applaud the IDC for recently referring emerging black manufacturers to TBDSA's database to market and promote their goods. This is the first step and positive step to social cohesion. The migrant traders are a convenient target and symbol of unemployment, with looting typically justified by saying, "La makwerekwere are taking our jobs." Looting 1,000 stores in Soweto is not going to create millions of jobs that this country needs to reduce and eradicate poverty, as a result, foster social cohesion. And neither is the small contribution that the traders can make going to resolve the problem. Only our city and provincial government with billions of rands in tax contribution from all citizens of South Africa can do that. So we, as TBDSA, are ready and available to work with the City of Johannesburg and with the Township Revitalization Program in association with our local association partners to achieve this goal of radical economic transformation. We identify with the genuine concerns of frustrations of the residents of our township as echoed by SASTA and other partners, and have set up TBDSA with affiliation of migrant traders to provide support and assistance where possible. One, for migrant traders to comply with all the laws of the land, including bylaws and contribution to SARS. For township residents to register businesses with CIPC and SARS. For township residents to access funding from DTI Cooperative Financing Scheme, the Township Revitalization Program, the GEP, etc. To start their businesses. 4, to provide training for inspiring entrepreneurs on how to start a business and how to efficiently run that business. To assist small manufacturers to get access to migrant stores to sell their goods. And lastly, to bridge the divide between migrants and South Africans to work hand in hand to reduce unemployment in Soweto and other townships. So we call upon nations present here today through their skills sharing and grant funding, and the City of Johannesburg together with the Gauteng provincial government through tax money to make a concerted effort to direct funding to where development is most required in townships, and to work with us, SASTA and other local associations to implement programs and projects to achieve this goal. I thank you.
All right. The event has provided a very good opportunity for the Arab communities represented by the Union of the Arab Communities Union in South Africa to take its role, led by the Islamic teachings and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hadith, to help the rest of their community members and the South African community members, regardless of their color, their race, their religion. And this, in my opinion, helps not only in strengthening social cohesion, but also in understanding and combating extremism and terrorism, that these phenomena that not only have a direct effect on the Arabic countries, but they have also they have also an effect on other world countries. So I actually look forward to seeing the final declaration of the conference, as we need to basically look on what this South African government, the embassies, the Arab embassies and the Arab representatives that were there, the Arab community, what the steps that needs to be adopted by society and government members on alleviating the restless, the suffering of the restless, because it's very key into enhancing the acceptance of foreigners. We as Muslims and Arabs and as human beings, we strongly condemn the xenophobic attacks, but we think at the same time we should take national measures to alleviate the suffering of the restless.
صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه.
Thank you, Program Director. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Let me start by verse of Quran first of all. يقول الله تعالى في محكم تنزيله: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا جعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. صدق الله العظيم. On behalf of the Dean of the Arab Diplomatic Corps in the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Ambassador Hassan Badr Al-Aqab's Ambassador of the State of Kuwait, I hereby welcome Honorable Deputy Minister of Public Enterprise, the Director of Al-Awqaf Organization, fellow members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the media, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. It gives me great pleasure to address this respectful gathering in my capacity as a representative of the Dean of the Arab Diplomatic Corps in the Republic of South Africa. I would like also to avail this golden opportunity to extend my gratitude for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you frankly and from the heart-to-heart speech. Also, I would like to thank everyone who contributed in organizing this amazing social gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to express also on behalf of the Council of Arab Ambassadors and the Dean of the Arab Group our deepest condolences to the government and the nation of the Republic of South Africa on the passing away of Minister of Public Services and Administration, Honorable Minister Colin Shabani, who passed away recently. May his soul rest in peace. I also am honored to be speaking on this occasion. I would also start by thanking the Union of Arab Countries communities for their kind invitation and for their constant support for the Palestinian people. Furthermore, thank to the government of the Republic of South Africa and its people for their support for the Palestinian struggle. And thank you all to the solidarity groups and committees that have stood by the Palestinian people. Your support is the movement that keeps the Palestinian hope for self-determination alive. That is why I'm so pleased that events like this are taking place. I'm also very happy to see the Arab community taking action for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Us Arabs may have differences, but are very similar in many ways. Most importantly, we all speak the same language, Arabic, which ties us together. We have a great potential to form a powerful force to defeat our oppressors if we stand together and with the support of the peace and justice-loving brothers and sisters across the world, like our South African family, who are even stronger. We need to stand together, whether it is for the Palestinian, Syrians, or so forth. We must stand up for each other. In a clear violation of international law and a provocation to the Palestinian citizens on their holy places, to promote an atmosphere of tension, Israeli Foreign Minister Lieberman advocated and a group of extremists and Jewish settlers breaking into Al-Haram al-Ibrahimi. This new crime committed by this group of extremists and racists come in an hour before the Israeli election in an attempt to form more Israeli voice in this election, which has become a battleground match for extremism, racism, and aggression on the values and principles of international law and the conduct of a state that fall within the framework of the United Nations that respects and committed to its charter. The League of Arab States condemns this crime, which has added to the black record of this extremism and racism. And unfortunately, those who are doing this are at the top of the pyramid of the officials in Israel, the occupying power. Ladies and gentlemen, the Afro-Arab relation started thousands of years ago when the Eastern African cities at the Indian Oceans were used as commercial centers that facilitated interaction between the Arab and African region. As a result of this strategic and economic relationship, we have shared a history and a common destiny. This historical interaction, geographical resemblance, and cultural communication between our two people have enhanced and accelerated the relationship that is based on cooperation, solidarity, and mutual interest. We in the Diplomatic Corps are very happy to see that the Arabic voluntary social institution, and we consider them as an important factor in strengthening the ties between our countries and South Africa. We would like also to assure you that we shall reserve no effort or resources to support this institution as long as they adhere to their social role. The Arab countries and the African people are required to promote cooperation, integration, including relationships for common interest of the people of the two countries, services, and maintain its security and its future in a world that no longer recognizes only entities, big and strong communities. In the 70s of the last century, the need to establish Arab-African cooperation became imminent. The idea of laying a foundation for political solidarity of the Arab-African that existed then and the investment of the cultural, human, historical ties between Africa and the Arab nations in the common interest of the services. Africa and the Arab nations in the common interest of the services, opening new horizons for relation. Parties include various fields have materialized in the Africa-Arab Summit held in Cairo in March 1977. All Arab and African leaders participated in that summit and issued a declaration and a resolution of the ambitious aim to launch Afro-Arab cooperation in a regulated and institutionalized manner, aiming at the maximum potential of the two sides. Many Arab institutions have achieved predestined success in the past of the Arab-African cooperation, including the Arab Fund for Technical Assistance to African countries and the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, which have provided aid and loans and financing projects with a total value of more than $3 billion. This is as well as the Afro-Arab Cultural Institute, which embarked on an exercise of its program and activities in promoting cultural cooperation and mutual collection of stereotypes about the Arab and Africa. More progress has been achieved in the second Africa-Arab Summit held in Sirte, Libya in 2010, and the African Arab Summit held in Kuwait 2013. In this regard, both the Arab League and the African Union are looking forward to promote Arab-African cooperation in the coming years to achieve this aspiration of both organizations. The relationship that's between Arab communities and Africa is not artificial and alien. On the contrary, it is historical, geographical, cultural ties cannot be separated or broken. Members of the Arab community supplement the South African social economic diversity. I must say, I am proud to acknowledge that Arabs, migrants in South Africa, occupy many important positions in hospitals, universities, and businesses. They have contributions in education sector, medical sector, industries, and businesses. We must protect this kind of cooperation and promote the integration of the expertise offered by the Arab communities and South African, establishing a mutual benefit through the transferring of skills and increasing job opportunities. In this context, allow me to express my concern about the attacks on the Somali-owned shops. These attacks are not limited to one place in South Africa, but extend from Soweto, Durban, and other places. It is very much worrying the extent of brutality and loneliness accompanied these attacks. Recent attacks on Somali-owned shops near Durban were considered as xenophobia. In this context, KwaZulu-Natal Community Safety, MEC, Willis said, and I quote, "Attacking foreign-owned shops is equal to xenophobic attacks. These acts were against the values South Africa stands for." We appeal to the people of South Africa who are hosting the Somali migrants to stand for the African values and the values of Ubuntu, which is characterized in all our behavior and defines our humanness. Finally, I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to address you. I hope this ceremony will establish for a plan of solidarity and future prosperity. Thank you very much.
I think that events like this are very important for us to talk about the issue of social cohesion in our community. And I think that the most important thing that I drew out of this event today was that there can't be social cohesion in our community without economic development. And us as Muslims and as civil society need to play a big role in the economic transformation of our underprivileged communities.
All right. The United Arab Community of South Africa is doing some very good work in terms of social cohesion. And as the Minara Chamber of Commerce, we are firm believers and committed towards the economic development of South Africa as a whole. We are currently engaging with various programs to strengthen the local community as well as the migrant community that have entrepreneurial spirits within South Africa. As Minara Chamber of Commerce, we represent business to government, but at the same time we also play an instrumental role in shaping some of the policies or commenting on some of the policies that are introduced or legislated by the South African government. So we listen to what the people want and we speak on behalf of them to government to ensure that their viewpoints taken into consideration. There's a lot of work to be done, but if all of us do our share, it will be easy and get done much quicker.
وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما حتى تنالوا جنة ونعيما صلوا عليه